Welcome to the Bible Prophecy Shop. Today we're diving deep into the symbolism of the second day of creation. Specifically, we'll explore the powerful imagery of the dividing of the waters. It's an often overlooked part of the creation narrative, and it holds profound meaning that resonates far beyond the simple description of how the physical world in which we live in came into being. First of all, I do want to make it clear that although this series on creation focuses more on the symbolic aspect of the days of creation, I am in no way saying that the creation story is only to be taken symbolically or that it is to be spiritualized and not taken as a factual account of the creation process. So if you haven't already seen my video on Day 1, Enlightenment, I would encourage you to go back and start the series at the beginning. So let's get started. On Day 1, we saw the separation of night and day by the creation of light, the division of darkness and enlightenment. Darkness existed before enlightenment, chaos before order. Therefore, each day begins with darkness. With each day, evening comes before morning. Each day there is a separation and a division. This is about the physical creation of the universe, but it's not just about the physical creation of the physical universe. It's a very important recurring theme that shows us God's character, his processes. It shows us a God pattern, the process he uses to build things and bring things about. He creates, then he separates, and he divides. He creates, separates, divides, and the process is repeated. There is a cyclical process in which God uses to refine and purify upon a previously laid foundation. The second day of creation in the book of Genesis marks a pivotal moment in the formation of the world. In Genesis 1, 6 through 8, God says, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters. Let it separate the waters from the waters." God called the expanse sky. The separation of waters is a profound moment of divine order being established in the world. In nature, the continual dividing of the waters provides a cycle in which the water is able to move through everything. It's what enables water to reach all living things on this planet, and it's that continual flow that sustains new life. Now let's explore the symbolism of dividing the waters. First, we see the physical separation of the waters into two parts, the waters above and the waters below. This can be seen as a representation of the division between the earthly realm and the heavenly realm, that which is above from that which is below. The days are cycles of time, each ending with a new beginning. So, how do we determine the definition of certain symbolism? How do we know that we're getting it right? Well, absolutely, we must get the definition of symbols from the Bible. The Bible always interprets itself. We do not look anywhere else. There's no need to. We find the symbolism explained in Daniel chapter 7, also in Revelation 17. Both refer to multitudes and nations as waters. Revelation 17:1. One of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute, who sits by many waters." The definition of the symbolism is then given by an angel. Then the angel said to me, "The waters you saw where the prostitute sits are peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages." The interpretation given in Daniel 7 was also given by an angel of the Lord. The Bible often uses the symbolism of many waters, or the chaos of the raging sea, in reference to the turning and churning of the multitudes of the people of the earth. When we look at this within the framework of the 1,000 years is as a day, the 1-week cycle of prophecy of mankind's redemption, we see an event about in the middle of the second 1,000-year epoch. We can determine the time frame by calculating the genealogy given in Genesis. It puts it at about 1,656 years after the creation of Adam, when God uses water to divide Noah, who was righteous through faith by God's grace, from the wicked and violent multitudes to become a new people. God was separating good from evil to begin a new cycle. and he uses the cycle of water to do it. One very important thing to point out here is in Genesis 7:10, that Noah shut himself up in the ark for 7 days, and on the 8th day the rain fell and covered the earth. This is an 8th day prophecy, when that which is above comes down to the earth and covers the earth completely. Look in the book of Habakkuk 2, verse 14. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. This series doesn't stop on the 7th day. Rather, it all leads up to the glorious new beginning, the prophecy of the 8th day, the completion of the full cycle. You'll definitely want to continue through the whole series so that you don't miss it. The second day of creation is a reminder that God is a God of order and purpose. The separation of the waters emphasizes that there is divine plan and intention. There is an intention behind everything in the universe. This concept can be both humbling and comforting. God demonstrates his sovereignty over the world's chaos. Although God gave dominion over the earth to mankind, he will not give up on mankind. He has a plan, and he will accomplish that plan. Even when the whole of mankind is obsessed with violence and rebellion, God can use one man to bring it all back into alignment. Now let's talk about how this symbolism is relevant in our lives today. The division of the waters serves as a powerful reminder that just as physical life in the natural world depends on the continual dividing of the waters, the cycle of water through nature in order to hydrate every living organism is the same with spiritual life. It must have a continual flow of spiritual water to go to it and through it. There must be a continual flow in order to grow and maintain life. This continually flowing water is what the ancients called living water. It's called living water because it's continually flowing water that gives life. As soon as the flow stops, the water that once gave life becomes stagnant and then begins to breed sickness. And that which was once good is now unable to support life. The pages of the Old Testament in Jeremiah prophetically speak of God's Spirit as the spring of living water. And Jesus identified himself to the Samaritan woman as the one who leads us to living water in John chapters 4 through 7. It is through faith in Jesus as the sacrificial Son of God that we're able to access the life-giving Spirit of God. As long as that Spirit keeps flowing, continually flowing through us, we live and grow. But if we only take one small part of it and we let it lay dormant, it'll only begin to stagnate and become bitter. It will begin to breed sickness, and it'll be unable to support life. And eventually, it will even become a witness against us because we allowed it to stop flowing. We must have a continual cycle of speaking to God and listening to God, praying, then listening. There must be daily action in our lives, a continual dividing of the waters, a separation of that which comes from above and the chaos that exists below. In conclusion, the second day of creation and the division of the waters reminds us of the importance of seeking order and purpose in our lives, purpose that can only come from a relationship with Jesus as our Savior. It emphasizes the separation between the earthly and the spiritual realms, and it encourages us to embrace God's divine order in our chaotic world. I want to take this opportunity to encourage you to not let your commitment to reach out to God for salvation to become a thing of the past, but rather to make it a daily renewal, a continual stairway reaching up into God's love. Don't ever let it go. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of the symbolism behind the second day of creation and the division of the waters. If this video was helpful to you, then most importantly, share this video. Help me to help others. When available, you'll find the link to Creation Day 3, the appearance of dry land, right here. If you're blessed by the Bible Prophecy Shop, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the rest of this series and more content like this. Go forth and be blessed.